How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.
What's going on, guys? Welcome into 14P Fantasy. I am your host, Justin Wright. Today, I am joined by the other half of 14 personnel, Marco. What's going on, man?
Not too much. This is like our 8th time doing this because, we haven't done this in a minute together, and it's been a good time.
This has been a tough start. Today we're talking 3 undervalued players, 3 guys that me and Marco think are, severely undervalued in startup drafts. I think in leagues that are, 2-3 years into existence already, they're probably valued pretty fairly. But when looking at DLF startup ADP, these 3 guys jumped off the page to us. So we're going to get into them, why they're undervalued, why you should be drafting them ahead of where they're going. But before we get into it, we have our Patreon page, guys. Check that out. 14 personnel at patreon.com/14P fantasy. We have tiered rookie rankings, tiered dynasty rankings. If you pay up on that top tier, we'll even break down one of your dynasty teams, give you trade advice. We had a few people take advantage of that already. I'd like to think we did a good job on those. Right, Marco?
Aggressively average, but they didn't complain.
That's true. One person even said great. So think
We'll
about
take
that,
that,
guys. It was me.
Yeah.
But for the lowest tier, $2, you can just, donate basically to the channel and help support us as we keep trying to push out things, 5-6 videos every week all year long. So that helps. We're starving here.
On my videos, I usually point to the icons, and I usually never directionally get it right because the camera is all inverse. But how crazy would it be if on this one I reached across into yours and was able to point? That would blow people's mind, I think.
I tried to do it and I did it wrong.
It would be so sick if I went into your.
Where's my arm? Oh, this way. Yeah, no, yeah, okay. So also, guys, just sorry, but subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter, 14P Fantasy there. Justin _14P, Marco _14P. All right. Now let's
do it.
Let's get into this. Number 1 on our list, we have Travis Etienne, currently on DLF in the January ADP. He is coming off the board as running back 19.
Right.
That in a startup draft is far too low. I mean, he's going right now behind guys like Zeke, David Montgomery, Derrick Henry, Cam Akers, and I think he probably should go behind Cam Akers. But these are just some of the names.
Me and Justin disagree. I think he should go ahead of Cam Akers, but I get it.
Yeah. So those are just some of the names at the running back position. He's also going behind Jerry Jeudy. He's going behind Chase Claypool. There's some guys that it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Yeah. Now, the reason I'm higher on Etienne, I know Marco is even higher than I am, is James Robinson now has an Achilles injury. Mm-hmm. Who knows how healthy he comes back? He's not the same player Cam Akers is. There's going to be, I think, a drastic difference there in the return.
And I mean, for anyone watching, I said this in the running backs to buy video as well. Don't think anyone who has an Achilles tear automatically is Cam Akers. Cam Akers is the exception. He is not the rule. Don't expect that's going to be what the norm is for a while. It might be down the road, but right now that's not the case. So don't expect that.
Akers is 10 times the athlete James Robinson is, and he has bursts to spare, which we saw. So, But on top of that, Travis Etienne is still 1 year removed from being a first-round pick. Yes, the team that drafted, or the regime that drafted him is no longer there.
Right.
But he still is going to get a chance to take this backfield for his own. And on top of it, down the line, they also have a first-year option on him, or a fifth-year option, because he was a first-round pick. This is a guy people touted as, an elite running back coming into the draft, Again, was drafted in the first round. And I don't think my evaluation has really changed on him. I still think he's going to be a damn good running back.
Yeah, I'm 100% there with you. And like you said, I'm even higher on him, I think, than you are. I had Travis Etienne as my running back 2 coming out of the draft, or coming out of college last year. I had him ahead of Javonte Williams. Obviously, Javonte Williams exploded onto the scene. He's been a beast. So that might be incorrect. But I don't think he's drastically like way, way behind Javonte. We haven't seen this guy play in the NFL yet. He's one of the most explosive guys in that class. He is super fast. He can catch the ball. He can run. He can do it all. And he's with this college quarterback who I think we all shouldn't really be worried about. Again, we talked about it. That regime, that coaching staff, everything is gone. I think Trevor Lawrence will get better, and I think Travis Etienne will be a benefactor of that, along with the fact that James Robinson is probably not going to be there for a while. Maybe early season, but maybe longer until he's back. So I think Travis Etienne's going to kind of seize that role pretty quickly, and he's going to be the engine and the motor to this offense.
Yep. So, and again, we're talking startup draft, guys. Obviously, if you're a contender, I'll take Derrick Henry over Etienne personally.
Yeah, that's fair.
But if you're in a startup, I'm not drafting depreciating assets, in that startup draft. That's not how I like to build my team. So I think Etienne gets the nod over Derrick Henry, over Montgomery, Zeke, those type of players that are only going to start declining in value from this point on. So I want to throw out two names, Marco, that we have.
Really quickly. I mean, to even talk about this quickly, Travis Etienne, he was talked about in the same breath as Najee and Javonte. No matter what order you had them in, Najee's now the dynasty RB2 or 3. Javonte's number 4 or 5 for a lot of people. Travis Etienne's not far behind these guys. So, I mean, I think that is a great reason to be like, okay, wait, yeah, he's actually going to be awesome.
Yes, no, I completely agree. So two names that are in between, kind of the range we've put for ADP.
Yeah.
In a startup draft, are you taking Terry McLaurin or Travis Etienne?
I'm taking Travis Etienne. I think Terry McLaurin's shine has kind of worn off a little bit with the quarterback situations there. And again, it's a running back. Those are always going to kind of have a little bit more value, especially if you're a team that's like going to compete in the near future, because even Terry McLaurin's not that young anymore.
Yep. I'm the same. And then last one, Travis Etienne, Devonta Smith.
I'm taking Travis Etienne. I think that one's closer for me because I think Devonta Smith's career trajectory will be longer. Obviously, he's going to be a good player in the NFL. I think Jalen Hurts hurts him a little bit because Jalen Hurts, I think, is not a guy who's going to be the long-term quarterback for the next 3 to 4 years. Like I think in 2 years from now, he might not be the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. So I think that hurts Devonta Smith a little bit. So I'm going to go Travis Etienne, but that one is close, I'll admit.
Yeah, I think I lean Smith just because Etienne coming off the injury, not that it's anything I'm overly concerned about, but that's enough of a tiebreaker with another elite second-year player, I think.
Yeah, that's fair. I think for me, the injury doesn't worry me as much because the injury happened so early. But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So, all right, let's move on to number 2. I think we belabored this point enough. Number 2 on the list, we have Juju SmithSchuster, currently being drafted as wide receiver 40 in startup.
So
ADP.
dumb.
I mean, if you're looking at ADP, Marco, where do you think he realistically should be going? I mean, right now, some guys going ahead of him.
Yeah.
Rondale Moore.
Definitely
Hunter
ahead of Rondale Moore.
Yep. Hunter Renfrow.
I mean, for sure ahead of Hunter Renfrow. It's not
Brandon Cooks.
Okay, ahead of Brandon Cooks.
Darnell Mooney. I know you're high on Mooney.
I'm really high on Darnell Mooney. I think he's going to be a top 25 wide receiver, maybe with more upside. So I'm going to go Darnell Mooney in Dynasty.
Yeah, that's totally fair. And I feel like that's a good place for him. He's probably should be around wide receiver 35. I think that's realistic. But wide receiver 40 going that late just doesn't make a lot of sense. And let's lay it out. He's going to be a free agent.
Yep.
He has been tied to Big Ben with the noodle arm of the century the last 3 years.
Yes.
He still, in his last full season, managed to finish as wide receiver 17 with Deontay and Chase Claypool.
Yep.
So I just don't get all the hate for Juju. Are people just tired of Juju Smith-Schuster?
That's what it is. And I think they think like, oh, he's washed. He's 25 years old. He's 25.
He's so young. Still.
Okay, I understand like Hunter Renfrow had a good end to his season. He ended up as like PPR wide receiver 11 or something. That's not going to happen again for Hunter Renfrow. He's probably a low-end wide receiver too. I think Juju Smith-Schuster is in that same conversation, and he has more upside. If he goes to a team that has a quarterback that is going to actually utilize him out of the slot well, like he has the potential to be a top 20 wide receiver, pretty regularly. He's 25 years old. He's shown us out of the slot, if there's another receiver there that can be even somewhat talented, he can be a very, very good player. He's not a wide receiver 1 through 5 anymore, but he's
No way.
definitely a top 20 guy. He should not be going as wide receiver 40.
Right. And again, and it's one thing if he was 27 years old and, he's getting up, he's 25. So again, some other guys you can look at here going ahead of him. First of all, this is crazy to me. Pat Freiermuth is going 2 picks behind him. Pat
Freiermuth is he's being overdrafted right now. His price is just way too high.
He's going off the board as tight end 7. That we'll save that for another video.
Yeah, that'll be another conversation.
We can look at that. Leonard Fournette, 27-year-old running back Leonard Fournette is going ahead of Juju. Is that a yes or a no to you?
That's a no way.
Right. You have Rondale Moore. I think we talked about that. Rondale Moore. We both are not Rondale Moore fans.
I called that so fast.
It's not over. It's not over, but
I know it's not over, but we've seen this experiment hundreds of times over.
It's Tavon Austin.
Yes.
Right. So, Juju, his landing spot's going to dictate his value. I do think when he gets signs with a team, his ADP is going to skyrocket. So if you're even looking to trade for Juju, do it before free agency. That is when you get the biggest discount.
I know we're not talking trades, but what would you trade for Juju right now? Because you can get him for scraps.
I'll give up a 2nd-round pick for Juju, like a mid-second.
Yes, 100%.
That's easy. I would give up a
2022 and a 2023 seconds if they're mid-seconds, you think?
Yeah, and I've seen you can trade Miles Sanders for Juju in a pick, and I'll do that without even thinking about it.
Yeah, that's fair. I think Miles Sanders is okay, but yeah, if you can get Juju and a pick back, I would do that.
Yeah, that's where the ADP and the trade value really doesn't match up because Sanders is going like 6 picks ahead of him, but when you get into a league, actually, Sanders' value is significantly higher than Juju's, and it shouldn't be really.
Yeah, Juju's going to outperform wide receiver 40 for the next 2 to 3 years, I think, pretty easily.
I completely agree. All right, moving on to our last one. This is your pick, Marco, and I do agree with it. So I will let you give the Antonio Gibson breakdown.
Yeah, so, here's the deal. I feel like a lot of people saw Antonio Gibson get a ton of work near the end of the season and think, oh, man, he's back to normal Antonio Gibson. And he was very good. He wasn't even remotely close to normal Antonio Gibson. He was still dealing with that shin injury. Antonio Gibson is one of the more versatile players in the NFL. J.D. McKissic might be moving on. We don't know for sure. He could come back. But at this point, even if he does, I'm not worried. I'm significantly less worried about J.D. McKissic than I would have been last year or the year before as, an actual threat to Antonio Gibson. Antonio Gibson kind of showed us near the end of the season, even with the shin issue, that he can carry the ball 20, 25 times a game, and he can catch the ball 4 to 5 times, if not more. I think that's one of the things we're going to start to see is if they can figure out what they're going to do at the quarterback situation. Maybe it's Taylor Heineke. I don't think it should be, but he hasn't been horrible. So I think if they can stabilize quarterback, get some sort of offensive game plan that's going to last the whole season, and hopefully some guys can stay healthy, he's going to be the workhorse that a lot of people, me included, thought he was going to be heading into 2021. So I think in 2022, he's going as RB13.
Yep.
I would take him as early as probably like RB6.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And I got some numbers for you. So last 2 years, RB13, RB12, playing banged up or in a limited role in his rookie season. But after the bye week, he was on pace, averaging, 16.7 points a game. That would have been the RB9 on the season. So you're looking at a 23-year-old running back that just delivered a phenomenal second half of the season
with a shin that is literally cracked in half.
While injured, and on top of it, he saw just under four targets a game, 3.9 a game. Mm-hmm. So he gets the pass work. He gets the rushing work. I don't think that's a question now. Really, it's just a matter of can they find a quarterback that is average enough to keep the offense on the field? Because that was the issue, is that they had so many short drives. And that's what crushed his value in reality.
I think Antonio Gibson bad offense aside, can make it to a top 15 running back really easily. And in Dynasty, if that's the case for a 23-year-old running back, he should already be going higher than RB13 in Dynasty, And then if his offense gets even to, like you said, even to average, he's a top 10 guy, no questions asked. I think he's going to see a little bit more passing work next season if he can, obviously recover from the shin thing. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's seeing 5 to 6 targets a game and he's seeing
a lot.
No, but I think that's definitely within his range of outcomes because, like you said, he was seeing 4 and he was probably at 60%, maybe.
He's probably 75. Not that these numbers literally mean
The
anything.
percentage is 34.6.
I don't know. It's like a 64.2. So
He's an over 6 foot, 220 pound running back who can catch the ball phenomenally. That's what he was known for in college, was receiver, as was what he can do as a receiver.
Yeah.
That's not going to just go away. They're going to have that happen at some point in the NFL. Rivera's going to do that.
Yeah, no, I hear you. So we got a couple more names here. Let's throw these out. And I know you and I disagree on a lot of these. So going ahead of him, we'll start at the top. JT, Swift, Harris, CMC, Javonte Williams. I want all of them over Gibson.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So that's 5, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Next, you have Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb.
I would take Antonio Gibson over all of those guys.
I'm not taking him over Kamara. I am fine taking him over Cook, over Mixon, and over Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is the one that kind of almost gives me the most concern here. Nick Chubb is a phenomenal player, but he has the same problems that Antonio Gibson has, except he's 3 years older. His offense that he's tied to is equally as average, and he gets less pass work. I mean, it's very tough for me to rank Nick Chubb over Antonio Gibson.
Right. And I think that's where it comes down to, or what it comes down to with those two is like, as a pure runner, Nick Chubb is better. That's not even a question. But as a fantasy football running back, Antonio Gibson is the guy you need to go with. And especially, like we said, in Dynasty. And I know Kamara, you said you would pick Kamara over Gibson. And we were talking about this before the show. Like, if someone offered me Antonio Gibson for Alvin Kamara right now, I wouldn't even hesitate. I would take that in a second.
I know you would. I know you would.
Well, the Saints offense isn't like free of question marks. Like, it's full of questions. What are they going to do? What is Alvin Kamara going to do? And again, we're talking Dynasty. How old is Kamara?
26.
Okay.
But I think his play style is suited to last longer in the NFL.
Totally. And I mean, his first 3 years, he got way less work. And he was way more efficient, you know.
Him and Eckler I view similarly in that their play style is going to be extended.
That's fair. No, that's totally fair. But I do think, I mean, if it was a year or two, well, a year or so, I would probably be like, okay, I get what you're saying. But it's 3 years. Yeah. And the other thing is their production level isn't different enough right now. Even if Kamara is outscoring Gibson, it's not different enough. We're in a dynasty league. I'm not going to take the guy who's 3 years younger.
That's more than fair. I totally hear what you're saying. All right, guys, that is what we have for you. 3 undervalued players in your startup drafts. Check them out. On top of it, guys, check out the Patreon page. Like we said, rookie rankings, dynasty breakdowns, early access to our rookie profiles. Subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Twitter. All that good stuff. You got anything else for them, Marco, before we get out of here?
And if you guys want to see some 14P gear, like shirts, hoodies, crew necks, anything like that, drop it below, because maybe if we get enough interest, we'll make some sweet 14P gear for people.
I'm into it, man. I want a hat. Give me a hat, Marco.
Ooh, a hat. I like that. Yeah, that'd be sweet.
I like a good hat.
Yeah, I like it. All right, if you're interested in any of that, drop it below. We want to hear about it.
All right, guys. As always, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Peace.
How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.